as a community can do better.
What do you want to tell your children about this moment?
We need reforms.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we stand together.
Everybody's here together, black, white, brown, everybody.
A platform for progress in our community.
We need to do a better job.
I want to show that we can be peaceful.
This is just as much our fight as it is yours.
Discussing the problems of racial inequality and solutions to combat discrimination in a conversation for change.
We'll be able to build on this.
I never in a million years thought I would embrace a cop like that.
From Wish TV, we stand together.
Being committed to fighting social injustice through self-reflection and faith.
And that's a big part of the approach of the Christian Theological Seminary students committed to pushing back against systemic racism. I spoke with the student and local podcaster about what it will take to confront racism in our city.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? A lot. Especially when it comes to protecting what matters. At Pacific Life, we've helped people and businesses confidently embrace the future with life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits. With strategies built on strength and trust, and a promise to be here for you today and tomorrow. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
Christian Theological Seminary views the diversity in the Circle City as a gift from God, an indispensable resource in preparation for what they call responsible ministry. It's an understanding that requires a bird's eye view. CTS believes working toward justice for all is imperative of Christian faith and life, which is what led some of their students to host a forum on complicity to anti-racism. Well, you recently had a conversation with all of your colleagues over at Christian Theological Seminary about pushing back against racial injustice. Talk to me a little bit about everyone's role in fighting back against racial injustice.
Anti-racist work is uncomfortable work. It's awkward, and we're going to do it wrong. We have to accept that we're going to do it wrong. And I think the biggest mistake we can make is to not begin the work.
You talked about something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, the idea that whiteness is superior. How do you have that conversation, and why does that require people to get uncomfortable?
Confronting the role of racial injustice begins with confronting it in ourselves as individuals, as white people. Before we can even begin to talk to each other and be willing to have those conversations. And that's incredibly important for white people to begin to learn and understand that whiteness itself is a construct, and it's a part of the false narratives that have impacted us as white people. We live in a society that has been so whitewashed in its history. And it's whitewashed because it's information that was created by white men. So we miss a huge part of our history.
For those who might say they just don't want to rock the boat, why is that unacceptable?
I can think of very few situations where not rocking the boat doesn't adhere to the status quo. And the status quo is oppression. The status quo is injustice. The status quo is racism.
You talked a little bit about confronting your own behavior at a conference that you were preaching at. Tell me a little bit about that and what you feel like others should learn from even your experience.
We were all gathering our coffee and sat down at tables. And, knowingly or unknowingly, I went right to the white table. And it was literally all the white people at the conference were sitting at this table. And so in recognizing my need to step out and into discomfort, I immediately went to the table next to us, which was a table of Black women, and was welcome there. Now, I think it's important to note that, the act of moving tables is not an act of justice, but it's an act of stepping into discomfort as a white person and stepping into an opportunity to experience being a minority. It was really important experience for white people.
Why is it important that we are confronting racism? Do you feel like more people are willing to confront racism now that we're having this conversation?
Because this is a movement of truth and this is a movement of justice, it automatically is holy. It automatically is sacred. And of course it can be done without the church community, but the church community has an opportunity to join in this sacred and holy work. Will they? That's the question, right?
Is Indianapolis in the midst of a racial awakening? And what does that mean for our future in standing together?
God, I hope so. But, all I know is that I can only do my part and do that boldly and do that clearly. Whether or not it's an awakening for all of us, it has to be an awakening for the individual. It has to be an awakening for me. And that's all I control.
Very powerful conversation there. And remember, you can also listen to our We Stand Together podcast at any time.
Yeah, find tonight's episode and others online at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
From Wish TV, we stand together. Watch, read, listen, and be a part of the conversation online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Find more episodes of We Stand Together and other podcasts from Wish TV online anytime at allindianapodcastnetwork.com. allindianapodcastnetwork.com.